Good morning, everybody. Well, a muddy trail, that's for sure. This time of year, the Bruce Trail in Ontario, Blue Mountain section. Well, any section really, but where I live, the Blue Mountain section, the Beaver Valley section, oh yeah, lots and lots of mud. Slippy, wet, but you know what? We know that. It's the same every year. And it's going to be muddy now until the ground freezes. And then come the spring, when the ground thaws, it's going to be muddy again. And it's going to stay muddy right through till the mid-June, sometimes till the end of June, before we get a drier, kind of firmer trail. So pretty much between now and then, mud, snow, more mud, and then things will change. It is Sunday morning. It's bright and early. Whew. The clocks went back last night, but I didn't concern myself too much with that, simply because I knew this morning I was going to be leaving for a 2-day, 1-night hike on the Blue Mountain Trail, on the Bruce Trail in the Blue Mountain section, heading south from the north end of the Blue Mountain section. So where I just started from, 15 minutes or so ago, was the north end of the Blue Mountain section, or the southern end of the Beaver Valley section of the Bruce Trail. We are going to be heading south past the Scenic Caves area, the Osler Bluff Lookout. You're all familiar with that. We've been there many times, and we'll do so many times again. We're going to go down through the Pretty River Valley today, and however far we actually get, probably 25 to 30 kilometers. Wow. Pretty through here. Just take a look at this rapid little waterfall. Just beautiful. What a beautiful kind of rapid waterfall running down here today. Again, we've had lots and lots of rain. We've had snow. Most of the snow is gone right now, but there are some remnants of the snow here and there. My goodness, that's a beautiful spot down there too. Okay. So yeah, that's a little bit about what we're doing. It's a 2-day hike with 1-night wild camp. Probably anywhere between 50 and 60 kilometers total, or more, who knows. Although in these extremely muddy and slippy conditions, probably lesser of the two rather than more. Yeah, hey, this is really great kind of prep work, training if you will, for the Appalachian Trail come the spring, if a person was to kind of think about doing that. And of course that's one of the trails we have on our bucket list, but we'll talk more about that over the next couple of days whilst we're out on trail. By the way, Jasper here. Welcome. I said welcome, and I mean that, to my channel, to my world, to my 2-day hike. Yeah, so this is a Sunday and Monday hike. Yeah, you know what? The weather is going to be great. Oh yeah, it's going to be mild for this time of year, that is. I think today's high is 14 degrees Celsius and the low is 4 degrees Celsius. That 4 degrees is what? 40 degrees Fahrenheit, thereabouts. So that's not bad at all. Tomorrow, going to be warmer. It's going to be 16, 17 degrees Celsius during the day. Blue sky, sunshine both days. No chance of rain. I guess, wow, that was slippy. I guess this is what we're going to call Indian summer right now. Okay. Let's get, I can't believe how muddy this is. Wow. Let's get some miles laid down. Let's go. There's a gorgeous sunrise. I'm not sure how much of that we can see through the trees. Maybe right through here, maybe. But an absolutely gorgeous, it's just a bright red ball on the horizon with beautiful sky above it, beautiful color of a orange pink kind of magenta. I hope it comes through on the GoPro because it's beautiful. Making a climb here, basically along the top of the ski hills of Blue Mountain Resorts. A big kind of ski operation here in Ontario, along the Niagara Escarpment and the Blue Mountain itself. Wow. I do hope you're seeing that sunrise through there, because it is beautiful. Okay. The wind this morning just howling, but again, luckily it's really quite mild. I don't know what the low was last night. When I left my home, which is about 20 minutes away from where I park, the thermometer on my car said 3 degrees Celsius. So I'm guessing that was the low. So there was no frost last night, but windy for sure. Strong winds. Okay, again, just looking at this beautiful sunrise through these trees along the trail. And again, I hope you can see it because it's absolutely gorgeous to be here this morning. Oh yeah, this promises to be a great 2-day hike, no doubt about it. This area through here is actually one of my most favorite little areas around here, anyhow, on the trail. Now, all the leaves, well, pretty much all gone for sure. But definitely on the ground, look. Isn't that pretty? Certainly is, especially with the strips of sunlight coming through and the shade of the trunks of the trees and so on the ground. I just think that's pretty, especially as a photographer. I like it. I photographed through here before and it's beautiful. A little earlier in the fall season than now, but that's not what we're here for today. Now technically, one has to wonder if this section of the trail is actually closed right now, and that's because there's a sign at the end we're going to, or the southern end of this section, that says that this trail is closed from November the 1st until I think it's May the 1st. But at the northern end, there's a sign for the Mission Road side trail that says this trail should be used instead of the main trail from December the 1st to March the 31st. So it's kind of contradictive there insofar as, okay, is it November? Is it December the 1st? Anyhow, we elected this morning to continue on the actual main trail. And so far that's been just fine. There's been no issues at all. Although this is quite a rocky area through here and I should be using my trekking poles. But anyhow, so yeah, But it's just gorgeous through here, and especially with the sunlight this morning. And that sun has got quite a bit of power. You can feel the heat in it. So the morning progresses well. Again, it's November the 7th today. And of course, 2021. Okay. It opens up into like a beautiful meadow here, picnic table, so on. Very nice through here. Just beautiful. Just a beautiful forest behind us. Okay, let's keep going. First break of the day. We're about, just under 10 kilometers into the hike so far. I'm not sure of the time right now. I didn't check. However, last night is when the clocks went back, and I elected not to really pay attention to that for this particular day, simply because I'm hiking from basically light to light. So the time didn't really matter to me. I just kind of started this morning on my normal schedule, but of course I know the clocks went back. So yeah, so far so good. Just as I say, a little under 10 kilometers in, so that's fine. It's been over 2 hours, maybe say 2.25 hours or something like that. Trail very, very, very muddy. It's pretty much identical to early spring conditions. Just a lot of mud, pretty much everywhere. Had some electrolyte water, had a bar, taken a few minutes just to relax, because we pushed pretty good this morning so far, but we're doing just fine. Hey, you know what? Really, really, really nice. It's quite mild in the sunshine, although the wind is chilly. Very chilly is the wind. And in the shade, as you see behind me, I don't know if you can see all the mud, by the way, but yeah, it's just a mud pit through here. But anyhow, in the shade, it's still very, very, very cold. We're at the trailhead. This is the third line trailhead in Gray County. So again, it's a spot that I've been to many times. It's all part of my local kind of Bruce Trail hiking area, be it in the Beaver Valley or in this particular case, the Blue Mountain section, all part of my home kind of sections. Okay, I'm going to continue my break, and then we're going to lay down some more miles. The subscriber, and I honestly can't tell you his name, a gentleman, 2 or 3 weeks ago, asked a question, and that was, how did the Bruce Trail, or how does the Bruce Trail compare to, say, the Colorado Trail? Which did I like best, and so on and so on and so on, and maybe other trails. Well, okay, I thought that was an excellent question, and of course I answered it the best I could at the time. But first of all trails, all of them have one thing in common. That is, they're essentially a continuous kind of through hiking trail from one terminus or start point to another terminus or end point, whether you're heading north or south, east or west. So all the trails have that much in common. They all also have in common the fact that you are going to have to filter water. So you need to know about water sources. You're going to have to get food, resupply your food. So you need to know about resupply points and locations and so on. And on different trails, these can all vary. Some are close together and really easy. Some are spread further apart and much harder. But again, these are all things that the trails all have in common. You are going to have to resupply your water, and you are going to have to resupply your food in one way, shape or form. Comparing the Bruce to the Colorado, well, first of all, the number one difference between the Bruce Trail and the Colorado Trail is the elevation, air density and so on. I think the high point on the Bruce is around 1,850 feet, or somewhere around there, above sea level. Whereas on the Colorado, the highest point is 13,274 feet, and about 95% of the Colorado Trail is above 10,000 feet. So that would be the single most individual kind of difference between the Colorado and the Bruce. Now, the Colorado Trail, it has kind of a whole array of different, I'm going to say, kind of geographical conditions. Whereas the Bruce, it's more of an East Coast kind of trail that tends to be mostly within a canopy, if you will, of trees, kind of a wet trail, a green trail. Colorado, it goes from areas that may look quite like the Bruce at times, or an East Coast trail, to areas that are just pure desert with cactus and much more resemble the Arizona Trail, for instance. So there are those differences. Resupplying water on the Bruce. Well, water on the Bruce tends to be quite plentiful. There are areas to the south that are a little less plentiful, which means you might have a little bit more of a water carry. But generally speaking, it's not an issue. Food, resupplying on the Bruce. Again, generally speaking, that's not an issue either, although in the kind of middle sections, I'm going to say mid sections, then there are areas there where you have a significantly longer carry of food. So you're going to carry more food. Other areas, every 3 days, you go past a beautiful resupply store of some kind. So that, you know, is not a problem. On the Colorado, except for a couple of dry areas, there was water, natural water sources every 2 to 4 miles, except for a couple of dry areas where you'd have between 10 and maybe 13 miles or so to go between a water source. But at least every day you'd have water, same as on the Bruce, every day you'd have water anyhow. The Bruce is a very challenging trail. There's no doubt about it. The Colorado is very challenging also. There's no doubt about that. Again, as I've mentioned, the elevation between the difference between the two trails is the number one major factor. But both have their challenges, both very doable. I have through hiked the Bruce and I've yo-yoed the Bruce. I have through hiked the Colorado, which I did this year, 2021, along with the Oak Ridges here in Ontario. And I'm in my mid-60s, so I mean, Younger people obviously were doing it faster than me. It took me 34 days to do the Colorado. In 2019, I did the Bruce, which took 35 days, and in 2020, I yo-yoed the Bruce, which took me 69 days. So, again, not breaking any speed records, but it's all pretty respectable times. Not that it's a race by any means. I just enjoy my hike, so just like I am now for this 2-day hike, I'm enjoying it. I don't have to be in a particular place at a particular time. Unless, of course, you're on a trail where you need to get to a resupply location before it closes, or to meet a shuttle before they depart and so on. Then, of course, you have to be in areas at certain times, but apart from that, it doesn't matter if it's today or tomorrow. So, yeah, which one did I like best? You know what? One thing I will say, and I'm not going to say I like the Bruce or I like the Colorado better. I'm not going to say that. But what I am going to say is this. Post-trail depression. Now, post-trail depression, first of all, that's when you've been on trail for any amount of time, a few weeks or a few months or whatever. When you come off the trail and go back to reality, it can be a very depressing time. And it's just called post-trail depression. And I'd never really experienced that before until I hiked the Colorado Trail. When I came home and on the journey home from the Colorado Trail, I did feel a deep emptiness. For two reasons: for the trail and the time I spent on that trail, and also from the hikers on that trail. So I experienced the first time after hiking the Colorado Trail post-trail depression. Would I hike the Colorado again? I certainly would. In fact, I'd love to have a go at yo-yoing that trail, but you know, we'll see. And would I hike the Bruce again? Certainly would. Although I don't think I'd yo-yo the Bruce again, although I don't know. We'll see what happens with that too. So, wow, it's gorgeous here. Sun's shining, it's beautiful. So yeah, so a little bit of information about those two trails and how they kind of differ. And again, just to kind of reiterate the fact that the major difference is the elevation between the two, and the elevation of the Rocky Mountains that you're hiking 800 kilometers over the top of, basically. So obviously there's going to be an elevation difference. Other trails, I've hiked the Garnaraska, loved every minute. Hiked the Oak Ridges, loved every minute. Yeah, hiked in Iceland, hiked in England and Scotland, and loved every minute. In fact, in Scotland, I'd like to have a go at the West Island Way, and then a summiting of Ben Nevis, the United Kingdom's highest mountain. That can all be done in a period of time. Oh, a couple of weeks in the UK would do that. But yeah, so I'd definitely like to do that, but we'll see. Okay, let's just enjoy this trail. Take a look at that view from atop the Osla Bluff. Is that beautiful? Yes, it is. We've seen it many times, I know, but you know what? I just love it here. It's beautiful. And we're actually very, very close, but not on the actual highest point of the Bruce Trail. Anyhow, this is going to be my lunch break. Right here on these rocks, I'm going to make a cup of coffee and have a break. So today, been an absolutely beautiful sunny day, mild, especially for this time of year. The lookout was extremely busy. I got to chat with a few people, probably sat for a few minutes longer than I should have maybe, but it doesn't matter. Lunch was instant potato with a bacon bit product that I hadn't tried before. Quite often I'll use the bacon jerky, but I really, really enjoyed these bacon bits. It's a real bacon bit, and I believe the company was, is it Maple Leaf Meat? And it mixed in very nicely. was very moist, very flavorful, and a very nice lunch. I had my coffee, of course, and a Kit Kat bar. And in all truthfulness, I was hungry. Anyhow, lunch is over. I've taken off a layer, taken off my poofy now. So right now I have a synthetic blend t-shirt and my Arc'teryx ultralight hoodie. It's just a thin shell hoodie. And that's it, my shorts. That's all. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. And 16 kilometers in so far, or 10 miles so far for the day. Keep in mind, whatever we do today, we're going to do exactly the same tomorrow on the return trip. So this is a day out, an overnight camp, and a day return. Oh boy, that sun's nice. Just take a look at this. Absolutely beautiful up here on a day like today. Wow, or any day. In the wintertime, it's gorgeous up here too. But isn't that nice? Wow. And the trail ahead of me. All the colors are 95% of the colors in the trees have all gone. There's still some. There's still some, as you can see up there. But all these leaves that were in the trees are all on the ground now. And it looks just beautiful. Again, as I mentioned earlier in the day, with the sunshine coming through the trees and just illuminating the goldens and the browns and the yellows and reds of the leaves. It's just beautiful. Wow. Am I blessed to be out here? Wow, I think I am, for sure. Okay. Yeah, so with lunchtime over, let's push now from the Osler Bluff, let's push down into the pretty River Valley. That would also be our next water source too. So regardless of where we camp, which could be at the bottom end of the Pretty River Valley, or further, it just depends on the time of day when we get there. The bottom end of the Pretty River Valley will be where we collect our water and filter our water for camp tonight. Okay, let's keep going. So we're now entering the Pretty River Valley. Again, the hike goes well. Still having trouble with my knee, left knee and hip. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with that, but anyhow. But yeah, just gorgeous down here. Quite a few mountain bikers, trail runners, day hikers out today. Again, just a perfect day, especially for November. It's like just amazing. I think it's warmer than they said. I bet it's 60 degrees Fahrenheit right now, so probably it could be 16 degrees Celsius, I'm guessing. Really very pleasant. Arriving at the Pretty River Valley trailhead. So there's Pretty River Valley Road right ahead of us. small trailhead. There's 4 cars in here right now, and they have a sign, Pretty River Valley, right there. Okay. So all the local folks will know exactly where I am. The Bruce, well, makes a left turn here. You better be a little bit careful, because on a day like today, this road can be a little bit busy. But it makes a left turn and then a quick right turn about 100 meters or 100 yards down the road. You can see the blaze in the distance for the right turn. That's going to take us right along the side again of the Pretty River. There is an area, there's 2 areas in there over the next, quarter mile or so that I have camped at, both of those areas many times. Am I camping there tonight? Well, I could, and that would be fine, and I would have enjoyed my day immensely. But I'm actually thinking that I'm going to log, well, I'm going to check the time once I get there, because we've got to filter water, because this is where we will filter our dinner water from, camp water, as we head back into the forest here. So this is where we will filter water from, just through here. Once we get to the river, then we'll check the time, see how much kind of daylight we have left. I think on my time, I think it's going to be about, I don't know, somewhere between 2 and 3 in the afternoon. So if that's the case on my time, it'll still give me a couple hours anyhow of daylight. So yeah. Oh, some people out with their dog for the day, or for the hike. It's pretty good. How you doing, folks?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, always good to see people on the trail. It's beautiful through here. Again, another of my most favorite kind of spots along the Bruce Trail, right through here. Not that there's really any overall favorites, but it's just nice here, and it's super relaxing camping. It's a wet camp, a beautiful rapid running river. It's got gorgeous water. So yeah, it's a nice spot. In fact, the area, or one of the areas that I have camped at many times, is just over here. I'm going to show it. In fact, oh, there's some rocks painted here. Okay, pretty rocks. But one of the camp spots that I've camped at is actually right here, right down there. River, there's a fire pit here, bench, rock seats. A lot of people use this area for camping and so on. And there's the river, which is a perfect spot to get water from, which we will do. And we'll check the time, and we'll see how we're making out, and we'll make a decision if we're going to keep going for another hour or two, or if we're going to call it home right here. We'll see. Stand by. So we are filtering with our Sawyer squeeze today, our knock bag, which is essentially my setup of choice, I think, for filtering water. This is an older filter. I did the Bruce Trail Yo-Yo with this. I did the Ganaraska Trail with this filter, and several of these 2- and 3-day hikes with this filter. But it works fine. I will replace it for my next through hike with another Sawyer squeeze, a new one. And when I get home after this 2-day hike, I will clean this really, really, really well. Because this particular filter is the one my daughter bought me. So, try to look at. So, with the time being just a little after 2:30 in the afternoon, fairly mild out, bright sunshine, I filtered 2 liters of water, so my pack weight has just gone up by 4.4 pounds. That's okay. I want the water for dinner tonight. So anyhow, I elected to keep going a little further. Now, it's always difficult passing up on an absolutely beautiful, pristine, wet campsite. I mean, it's just difficult, always difficult. But again, at 2:30, I'm thinking, oh, I'd like to do an hour or two yet. So, and we're at 22 kilometers in. And in all truthfulness, although it's kind of sometimes hard to explain, but, and we've talked about this in the past, but 22 kilometers for a kind of a training hike that we're doing right now just isn't enough, because on a through hike, on the average overall days, we have to average more than 22. We have to average at least 24 kilometers a day or 15 miles. Anyhow, so yeah, we're just going to keep going for a while. We've got a major climb ahead of us as we go back up the other side of the escarpment and we leave the Pretty River Valley. And having left that beautiful campsite, I'm not sure now, if memory serves me correct, there's not much for quite a while as far as decent kind of camp spots. Don't get me wrong, we always find something, but I just don't recall there being that much of any kind of reasonable campsite. We'll find something. Okay, let's go. Standing Rock and Caves side trail. Okay, well, at least we all know where we are now. The Standing Rock side trail and caves. I have actually photographed those in the winter with the ice formations, and it's beautiful, beautiful location in the winter time. Oh, here comes a big old dog coming down the trail, bounding along, looks friendly. Oh, he stopped. He found something to entertain him. Yeah. Well, hello there. How are you doing? Hey, how are you doing? Yeah. How you doing? Good. More people out for a Sunday afternoon, early evening kind of hike with their dogs. Perfect. Oh. The next trailhead we came to, Nottawasaga Lookout. Lots and lots and lots of cars going all the way down the road on both sides. Wow. Anyhow, time is getting on. We're at about 25.3 kilometers, so almost 16 miles now for the day. Well, that's pretty good. We're doing fine. It's got to be pushing 4 o'clock-ish or 1:45. So the day has actually gone very well. Been a lot of people, day hikers and so on. I did see another guy pass me with full pack. So he's rather a section hiker, through hiker, whatever he's doing, or he's training. He's training for another trail maybe. We didn't actually communicate other than an hello. But anyhow, so he's the only other person I've seen that's kind of full pack, kind of hiking, I guess you could say. It looked like he was camping out because he did have a tent strapped to the back of his full pack and so on. Anyhow, yeah, the day progresses well. It will be starting to wind down shortly. But we'll go another, maybe a kilometer or two and just see how we make out here. Okay. The trail's gorgeous through here. Beautiful forests. Lots of forest through here. That's why I mentioned earlier, when we left the Pretty River Valley in those really pristine camp areas, I knew there wasn't a lot of like pristine camp areas for a while, simply because it was quite dense forest. But anyhow, that is just fine. Okay. Okay, so after I changed batteries in my GoPro, because I did run out of power, and while I was charging battery actually rather than changing, because I only have one with me, so I did put some power into it, and whilst I was doing that, I set up camp. So here is my camp for the evening. I'm using not my Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2, that I generally reserve for my through hikes, but this is my Kelty Salida 2-man. Now this particular tent, it's a good tent, there's nothing at all wrong with this tent, it's solid, it's very durable, it's a Kelty. It weighs about a pound or a little more than a pound heavier than my Copper Spur, Big Agnes Copper Spur. I've got my Thermarest Neo Air Ultralight Sleeping Pad 4.2 R value. I have my Patagonia long 850 fill power down sleeping bag. I have my Woods synthetic material liner. So I should be just fine tonight. It's not going to be cold tonight at all. We've slept in much colder with this same gear. Tonight I think it's going down to about 5 degrees Celsius, 4 or 5. So it's not even going to be freezing. Don't have to worry about the water filter. So that'll be fine. The fact that it's just in the bag in the tent will be fine. Because you never want to let your water filters freeze, by the way. Okay, little spot by this tree. That's going to be where I have my dinner. My seat set up. Tree is a backrest. I'll get myself all comfy and make myself a nice dinner and a cup of coffee and relax. And in the morning, so we have 27.5 kilometers to do tomorrow, back to where we started, back to where we parked the car. This has been a challenging trail today and muddy. Those two things together mean it's been longer than, say, other conditions or other trails doing the same distance. So we're going to start early tomorrow, probably in the dark. We'll probably do a little bit of early morning dark hiking for an hour or so. Then it'll get light. We'll stop and have breakfast and so on. You know what? I'm going to make my dinner because I am hungry. We'll talk to you soon. Hey guys, so just a few things before I kind of settle down to a little bit of YouTube for the night. Because it's still quite early, but it's getting dark very quickly now because, again, we're back to standard time. But I wanted to show you inside my tent. On my sleeping pack to the left, on my sleeping bunk to the left, my pack in the corner to the right, and where I am, there's actually lots of seating room. This particular tent has only one door, but it has a big vestibule. Lots of space there for if I wish to put anything there, such as my shoes, whatever, my pack, 2 packs, anything. I usually keep most things inside my tent. But there's lots of space in this particular tent. And the only reason I don't use this particular tent for through hiking is because, as I say, it's a little over a pound heavier than my Copper Spur. And it only has the one door, so if I'm on a hot trail, then you know, you've got less ventilation. But for the colder weather, this isn't too bad at all. Wanted to show you a little bit about this particular tent. It's a Kelty Salida 2. Not expensive. I paid about 170 Canadian dollars for this, so what's that, about 130? Is it 120, 130 US? Well, it's not bad. It's really quite strong. I do use a footprint with it, and of course that's my Tyvek footprint. So yeah, just wanted to show you. Hey, we'll talk to you in the morning for day 2 of our 2-day hike in the Blue Mountain section of the Bruce Trail. Night-night. Good morning, everybody. Well, it's pretty dark out here. About 5:30, 5:20 in the morning, Monday morning. I guess that's what, the 10th of November? Is that right? 9th or 10th of November. Oh. Good night last night. Slept really well. So long, this time of year, the nights are long. So it's a long time in the bunk, but I slept well. I woke a couple of times, but I had a really good night's sleep. So I was up early this morning, 4:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30. I was sat outside my shelter, my tent, having my coffee and my oatmeal, and relaxed, looked at the beautiful stars, jet black sky at night, studded with diamonds, of course, just gorgeous. I guess you're not seeing much right now, but we are on the Bruce Trail. There's a blaze. I can see where I'm going. I know the GoPro, I use the GoPro Hero 9 right now, and we've talked about the upgrade, but that's work in progress and we're doing okay with that. But anyhow, it doesn't do very well. It's a very small sensor, and you know, it's something in such a small package can't do a great job at everything. In low light, the GoPros are just not very good. So I know you're not seeing much, just darkness. But here's another blaze, so I can show you that. There's the blaze right there. Okay. Okay. You know what? It's an early start. We've got a long way to go. So let's just get into it. Well, definitely got lighter. Wow, what an absolutely gorgeous morning. My goodness. It's dawn, pre-sunrise. Yeah. Just came down from a very muddy section of the trail. Again, we talked about that yesterday. It's really quite normal. Now a little gravel road, and that's going to take us to another descent. Again, muddy. And then we're going to make a left turn into the Pretty River Valley Forest. And shortly after that, we'll be starting a climb up and then down into the valley itself, and then up the other side, the biggest climb of the day, heading to Osler Bluff. So that's kind of the next 2 or 3 hours of kind of hiking right there today. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Jasper here. Welcome to day 2 of our 2-day hike in the Blue Mountain section on the Bruce Trail. Absolutely perfect. Nice breeze. It is quite breezy, but it's mild. I want to say mild, 6 or 7 degrees this morning when I left camp at about 5:30. Okay, let's keep going. Hi guys. Sat at the side of a beautiful little creek. It's kind of a finger creek that runs off the main river of the Frig River. Having a cereal bag which consists of bran flakes, cornflakes, and some kind of little wheat rings. Powdered milk, just added my water to it. I've got some water filtering right now, just gravity feed over there. Hey, beautiful spot to take a little break. Something I want to mention, last night was a wonderful night and I slept like a baby for a long time, so I feel good today. But I wanted to mention, I mentioned it last night, that the Kelty Salida 2 is my backup tent. I wanted to mention more about that particular tent because in all truthfulness, the more I use that tent, the more I like that tent. One thing I noticed right off the bat last night, it's about 5 to 6, somewhere between 4 and 6 inches longer than my Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2. Makes a huge difference because at certain times under certain conditions, and it's quite frequent from your breath and so on, condensation or moisture condenses on the inside of the tent, and if your feet are touching the walls of the tent, let's say, or your head or anything else, those areas get wet, such as the toe box of your sleeping bag at the bottom of the tent. Whereas with the Kelty, that extra 4 to 6 inches, perfect. So I wanted to mention that for a kind of a budget type tent at about 175 Canadian dollars with tax delivered to my door, it's just an exceptional tent. But I did go on their website last night and I did have a look at the weight. So the weight is coming in at 4.9 pound, or 4 pounds 9 ounces, sorry, 4 pounds 9 ounces, I believe, for the full kit. Whereas my Big Agnes comes in at just an ounce under 3 pounds, so there's a huge difference there. But I wanted to mention about that tent. If a person is looking for a tent, I highly recommend that Kelty Salida 2, depending what you want to use it for. Great tent. So I'd throw that out there this morning while I'm having my cereal break. Oh boy, a little tricky here. Oh. About a mile, I would say, maybe a mile and a bit, and we'll be back where we started from. Wow, what a great time, what a great weather, what great weather indeed have we had for this here in November, November the 7th, November the 8th. Absolutely gorgeous. Here I am in a t-shirt and shorts. Beautiful. And there's quite a wind blowing. If that wind wasn't blowing, it would be downright hard. But anyhow, I think that is about it. It's been a great hike. One more hike in the books. A total of, we said before we started it would be somewhere between 50 and 60 kilometers. It turned out to be 55.5 kilometers. So 55.5 kilometers was the hike. And hey, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me on this hike. Please like, share, comment, do subscribe if you have not already. That would really help the channel grow. Jasper here. We're going to talk to you next time we're on trail.